I'm the founder of MAIA, and we're an arts organisation set up with the premise of exploring how do we sustain the creative industries. So I'm an artist, I've been a practicing artist for years, and sort of realising that the challenges that I've faced in trying to navigate my career were sort of equally relevant to other artists. And then wanting to explore the sort of deeper infrastructural issues that are affecting artists being able to live and work in Birmingham, and that then spoke to wider society. So then we're talking about geography, race, social class. So we started to then look at how as artists might we respond to the things that are happening around us. We work with artists, the cultural sector and the social sector, really trying to co-design solutions for some of the problems that the city's navigating. And how we do that is really cultural organisations come to us. They understand the value that's been created by the communities that we work with and want to be a part of that or want to be proximate to that. And it's all about the greater vision for what a healthy, equitable city could be. So partners come to us and say, we're interested in this. We want to explore that with artists. Collaboration is absolutely necessary in the way that we work because we're talking about systems change and understanding that all of the systems that we're trying to change are interdependent, so they require really complex solutions. So about, working in the sort of social policy space or social transformation, it takes loads of different partners and it takes loads of different players to be a part of that. We couldn't do the work that we're doing independently. And that again, it comes back to this sort of central mission of wanting to see a more equitable community, a more equitable ecosystem that artists have a role in. We couldn't do that without working with stakeholders, funders, communities, artists, the whole sort of network. So when we first established MAIA, we were kind of exploring this terrain of how do we sustain the creative industries. And at that time, we were really looking at like business skills and PR and understanding that that had a role to play. So we developed a series of modules and sort of workshops that were looking at professional practice enterprise skills. And then started to realise that that didn't get to the root of the issue that artists were experiencing in terms of how they navigate their careers or develop their practice. And that there were loads of artist development projects that were already happening around the region. So we didn't need to recreate something that was already existing. So once we got sort of into the deeper infrastructural issues that were really affecting how people in general live and work, we started to find that there were sort of commonalities in the experience of society and artists. And that was things around, where I live affects my ability to be an artist, or where where I was trained or where I went to school affected my ability to be an artist, or my race or my class or my socio-economic status has affected my entry point into the arts. So once we started from that central sort of understanding of the infrastructural issues, we then started to look at what would it mean for artists to sort of redesign and reimagine what the solutions might be for that. So we went on this journey, and then me as a touring artist at the same time as asking those questions started to realise, could there be an opportunity in developing something that sort of really centred this regenerative economic model? So what would it mean if touring artists designed a hotel that was led by artists, that was designed to suit the needs of artists but also was open to the general public? What would it be for a business model that sort of reinvested back into creative people while still serving really general needs as hotels do, but also people understand how hotels work, whether they understand the value of arts or not. So it's sort of like playing with the duality almost of art spaces and public spaces, and in the midst of us losing public spaces, us losing community centres, libraries, how do we imagine future public spaces? So that's where the hotel kind of came from. So the biggest challenge that we've had in establishing Art Hotel has been the relationship with developers. Because the city's going through a thing where it's being developed so quickly at the moment, there's been a lot of competition, and it's also made for really interesting, difficult relationships with developers. So finding a developer who is really invested in the long-term plan of a neighbourhood and wanting to see the neighbourhood thrive and have us as part of that has been challenging. Other difficulties have kind of been while we're working out the business case for it, and sort of wanting to really move that forward efficiently, there has been this massive sort of thriving community who want to see it happen. So sort of negotiating timelines and managing expectations while lots of people are wanting to be a part of this creative vision, which of course we want to work with these people, but it's kind of the timing and knowing how to navigate that's been really difficult as well. But we're working through that now and hopefully have a relationship with the developer that is moving forward. So it's all about that sort of the management and the rollout plan now. So we've been really fortunate for this research and development phase to have acquired funding from grant makers and independent foundations, and that's really helped us to catalyse the project and do all of the necessary research and put together some architectural plans and to sort of start a marketing campaign for the project. Going forward, it's going to need a mixture of private investment and grant funding to support the capital of the project. But going forward, we've designed the art hotel so that it will be a self-sustaining model, and not wanting to be reliant on grant funding has been really important for us as an arts organisation, and understanding the landscape is that we know we can't afford to be reliant on grants. So that idea of a mixed economy model, having the hotel sustainable but having that surplus that reinvests back into local artists and the local community projects is a necessary part of our business plan. So going forward, it's going to take a mix of things as well as a crowdfunding campaign to support. MAIA has been running for over 6 years, and in that time we've worked with over 2,000 artists and creative practitioners, and that's something that we only want to see continuing to grow. But more particularly in relation to the art hotel, it's difficult to quantify because we're so deeply invested in the systematic change. So really who we're wanting to work with is the local community and artists who have maybe felt marginalised from the existing institutions within the region, and those people have been marginalised from whether it's where they're from in the city, or whether it's about their race, or whether it's about their gender or physical access. We're wanting to make sure that our work is continuing to support those people, whether the sector wants to acknowledge that as valuable or not. So it's difficult to quantify because it's based on the needs of a community that has been largely underserved, but there have been systems that have been designed to keep those people underserved. So us building, Art Hotel for us is a way to explore what physical infrastructure would look like that would address all of those problems. So for us, it's about maintaining that relationship with people who have felt underserved. Knowing what I know now, I would honestly tell myself to sleep more. That's it. So MAIA is an arts organisation that is really invested in the idea that communities, artists and places should be creative. And we do that and we explore that through physical infrastructure, sort of valuing the need for convening and social spaces, investment and exploring alternative investment models for artists and communities, and through a really place-based approach. And one of the tools that or one of the mechanisms that we're using to explore how this could be in practice is with the Art Hotel. And with the Art Hotel, what we're designing is a hotel that's led and imagined by artists as a way to accommodate sort of the touring artist network, but also more broadly cultural tourists and people who want to be proximate to arts and culture. and using that as a way to explore a different vantage point to the city of Birmingham. And more than that, we're wanting to create a reinvestment model that uses the surplus to regenerate and to invest back into local communities.